The Arkansas Razorbacks are headed back to Omaha and the College World Series. Joining us once again, it's been good luck for the Hogs thus far. Our good friend Andrew Ellis of Inside Arkansas, the third straight week in a row. Andrew, it is great to see your face once again. It's great to be talking Omahogs, first time since 2022. My man, what's going on? How you feeling?
I'm buzzing, man. Finally got a little bit of sleep last night, but man, it's hard to sleep after games like that. It was just a fun weekend at Baum-Walker Stadium. I'm really glad that I don't have to go to Baum-Walker Stadium tonight. I never thought I'd say that, but I'm really glad I don't have to go there. I would be a nervous wreck right about now, but it's just nice to see the team take care of business. And credit to Tennessee, man. Like, I know a lot of Tennessee fans are bummed out. Obviously, it's tough when your season ends, but it's not fun playing against those guys. Like, there's never really a comfortable at bat. Their pitchers are nasty. Tony Vitello is just a guy that worries you. You know, you just always feel like his team's going to show up in those big moments. And so I think that's what made it more sweet. Of course, the fan bases like to jaw at each other. It's nice to throw it in their face. And I know there's a lot of Hog fans who have done that. But I think that's what made this super regional win more special, is knowing the opponent you beat and knowing that that was a legit national title contender that you knocked off in your home stadium, seeing the celebration and seeing how much it meant to those players, how much it meant to DVH, man. Like, he's been to Omaha. This is his 8th trip with Arkansas. I think he's gone 10 times overall. He was just as fired up for this one as he was for any of them. I think you can just tell how much it means to so many people in this fan base and in that program.
Yeah, Andrew, I definitely want to get into the emotions of Dave Van Horn post-game, but first I want to talk the games themselves. Again, Arkansas wins game 1 on Saturday 4-3. Sunday they close it out 11-4, pull away in that one. If I am correct, I heard on the broadcast, I believe this is the first time Arkansas has ever swept through both the regional round and the super regional round. So undefeated in postseason play. The Hogs are hot right now. What'd you see in the super regional? I mean, again, obviously you win the super. That's what really matters. But game 1 was really entertaining. You know, we expected some chippiness. We expected some emotions, and we got that from Zach Root, the whole Zach Root, Andrew Fisher thing, and he was fantastic in that ball game. And then obviously the explosion of emotion on Sunday when Arkansas clinched it. But what'd you see in the two games in regards to performance on the field, major takeaways from the weekend that was?
You know, I said it going into the series that there's just not a ton of separation between these two teams. Like, they played 3 games in Fayetteville just a few weeks ago. All 3 games kind of came down to the wire. Guys needed to step up and make big plays. And so it's like, yeah, one team's going to win, one team's going to lose. But I didn't expect this situation where one team was just going to beat the other handedly. And I know the final score on Sunday looks that way, but you really look at this series, there's not a ton of separation. There were a lot of very big moments where Arkansas had to step up and make huge plays. I mean, hell, Logan Maxwell's grand slam gets out by just this much. Ryder Helfrich somehow he hit a 312-foot home run and a 320-foot fence. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how TrackMan got that one, but there were so many plays that were just separated by a little bit. In game 1, I mean, 4-3 game, it was shaping up to be maybe the worst postseason loss Arkansas's had. Like, Arkansas had a lot of tough, you know, like last year you lose a game with Hagen Smith on the mound where you out-hit an opponent 11-5. Like, that's a tough loss and one you think about. Had Arkansas lost that game 1, this fan base would have gone crazy. I mean, Arkansas out-hit them 10-2 in that game, and we're on the brink of losing. Like, that would have been a disaster. And, you know, every team thinks it's unique to them that in the postseason, your season ends basically when there's you lose a game you're not supposed to lose, and an offense shuts you down, and you don't get those big hits with the runners in scoring position. Arkansas fans think that's like an issue unique to them. Pretty much every level of baseball, that's how it works. Like, if you don't get hits with the runners in scoring position, that's when your season ends for the most part. And Arkansas really didn't get a ton of those, but they got some really good pitching. They held down this Tennessee offense, which is, again, just there's not a comfortable out. That game 1 was so stressful, man, just going up and down, and each team kind of having their moments. Andrew Fisher hits the home run in the 9th to close it out. But I think the story of this one is Arkansas got the pitching performances they needed from a lot of their top guys. I mean, when you have Root and Gackle look the way they did on Saturday, you're going to be able to beat a lot of teams. I think there's a lot of confidence Arkansas's pitchers can take from facing an offense like that. And then Tennessee just kind of ran out of pitching on Sunday, which is something that didn't happen to Arkansas. And I think that was kind of the big difference in the big picture.
Andrew, did Wahiwa Aloy lock up the Golden Spikes this weekend? That's kind of a side note and a side topic, but, you know, it's between him, Liam Doyle, and the kid Lodis from Florida State. We obviously know Florida State has been eliminated. Tennessee obviously eliminated. And Liam Doyle gets touched up in his start, which for whatever reason, he just has struggled in his entire career in Fayetteville. So kudos to the Hogs for that. But it felt like Aloy locked up that award this weekend. And that's kind of a footnote or a side note, but your thoughts on the Golden Spikes race?
Well, I'll tell you who didn't lock up the Golden Spikes this weekend. That would be Liam Doyle. And that's not even a shot at him. It's just, like you said, it's kind of the logistics of it. I mean, you kind of have these big moments. That's when these things are determined. And he's a great pitcher. I really don't want to add on to him or anything like that. But, it's interesting. I haven't looked too much at what the national landscape has looked and all that. I know Lodis got eliminated, obviously, but he made a really nice play the other day. Numbers wise, I'm sure you can make an argument one way or the other. I tell you what, Vahiva really could have locked it up. He had a homer, or he had a deep fly out on Saturday that just missed by a little bit. If that ball had gotten out, it would have kind of broken open that one game. I think that would have been the moment where it's like, oh, this is the guy. That clip would have went crazy viral. Everybody would have, because Baum Walker would have gone unreal. But I think it definitely was a cool visual seeing him lead the team. And by the way, a lot of the players on the team were like, because Arkansas, after they won the game on Sunday, they did a full lap around the concourse, even went out into the hog pen, and you had Steele Eves, a freshman pitcher, jumping into the Lake Norm out behind the park, and it was just special. But Vahiva Lowe was the one that led that charge, and he's holding the trophy, and everyone just kind of followed him. I thought that was a really cool visual, and kind of shows you what he means to this team and this ball club. I think the Florida State kid can't be ruled out just because of the year he's had. But man, it won't hurt my feelings if Vahiva Loy wins the Golden Spikes. Does it feel like he locked it up? I didn't know that was the national consensus.
I think he did. I mean, I think he's the hands-on winner. And by the way, talking to our folks at Chinook Seedery, the official presenting sponsors, if you will, of that award, 30 minutes before game one of the finals, we will find out who the winner of the Golden Spikes is. So sooner rather than later. I was also going to say, Andrew, I was a little disappointed not to see you jumping in the lake as well. Behind Baum Walker. So maybe if the Hogs win it all, we'll get that video of you jumping in the lake. I don't know. I don't know if your detergent's as good as Arkansas baseball's is, because that he was like, it looked like he was covered in black tar when he came out of that thing. So they got that jersey clean somehow. I don't know what
all is in that lake, but I don't want to find out. I'm from Louisiana. I lived in a small town. I grew up around a bunch of country boys, but I'm not a country boy myself. But this Razorback team, they've got a lot of. By the way, that lake back there has caught. I mean, there's so many Razorback players that have caught fish back there. Cam Kojal kind of leads the charge of the fishermen. This team, they're a lot of country boys, man, and it's good to see stuff like that. But yeah, you will not be seeing me in that lake anytime soon. Maybe it would have to be a natty. Just getting back to Omaha, that's not enough for me.
Andrew, you mentioned earlier the emotions of Dave Van Horn and obviously the team, like you mentioned, the celebration after you talked about before we went on. You've been watching all the celebration content. Just talk about, obviously, I think a lot of times that, and not to call out SEC baseball fans, but I think sometimes as fans, we think Omaha's our birthright. Like you're just supposed to go every year. And people forget how hard it is. I think that was evident in the emotions in postgame for Dave Van Horn and that entire team. Just talk about what you saw from them and, how much it means to a guy like Dave Van Horn who's been doing this for so long, but obviously this one hit as hard as any for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, look, when we talk about Dave Van Horn and his story at Arkansas, the big thing we're going to talk about is whether or not he gets that elusive national championship. And that's, we can have that conversation, but you're absolutely right. Like, it's something that you can't take for granted. And I think Arkansas having their season end in Baum Walker Stadium in the regional round back-to-back years makes it a little bit easier to appreciate, hey, this team did what they were supposed to do, got back to Omaha. And I think all along we felt like this team was better. We felt like this team was different, had the kind of makeup that could get back there. But like you said, man, it's like sometimes the fan bases feel entitled to that. And I think Dave, of course, that's his goal every year, to give that team back to Omaha. I mean, there's signs all in the facility talking about it. And there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. Because like you said, man, like you kind of expect it, but it's like those players got to go out there and do it. And those players feel that. They know all these fans here, they love us, they're cheering, but we better not disappoint them. It's kind of a dark cloud that hangs over. And so I think when you have that pressure, and by the way, you go to a place like Arkansas or a place like LSU or a place like Tennessee, wanting that pressure. As an athlete, you want that. You want to be on those big stages. You want the expectations to be high. But I think it makes it that much more sweet when you do get back to Omaha. And so, like, it's always cool to see teams that punch their first ever ticket. And, like UTSA, it would have been cool to see them dogpile and have that moment. And it's always special when a program does that. But it's just as special for these big programs that go all the time. I mean, Arkansas, it's only been since 2022, but in Arkansas, that feels like a lifetime. That feels like a decade ago. And so it definitely means a lot to these fan bases. And I think Dave Van Horn, he knows that the end of the road is somewhere near. Will it be this year? Will it be next year? Will it be 5 years from now? We don't know. And honestly, I don't even want to have that conversation. But I think he knows, like, listen, he's done this before. He knows how hard it is. He knows how much it means to this fan base. And if you don't believe me, just watch that celebration video. Look at how many people are fired up. And Arkansas's they have some guys on this team that have been to Omaha, but like Cam Kogel, a kid who grew up in Omaha. His dad worked on the grounds crew at TD Ameritrade. Like, it means a lot to that kid, man. There's a lot of transfers. Logan Maxwell, Brent Iredale, Vahiva Aloy, like all these guys that come to Arkansas wanting to do this. And so for a guy like Dave Van Horn, I think it means a lot to be able to give guys those opportunities. Because when you're a coach and you're in the portal or you're recruiting guys, you're saying, hey, we're going to get you to Omaha. You're going to get to play on the biggest stages. So for him to be able to deliver on that promise to a lot of these players and to the fans as well, because we've always been saying this team is different, for them to kind of vindicate everyone in the way that we felt about this team, it's sweet. But as we know, it ain't done yet.
It's not done yet. The College World Series beginning in just a few short days. 7 of the 8 spots, Andrew, are locked up. Of course, we await the winner of, time of us speaking tonight, Duke and Murray State. But I got to ask you, Andrew, about that game 1, because we know who it's going to be. The LSU Tigers await the Arkansas Razorbacks in what I think could be and will be maybe the most electric atmosphere in College World Series history. And maybe I'm over-exaggerating, but it's going to be an all-out war. We've known these two potentially have been on a collision course to see each other. Game 1, thoughts on the matchup against LSU? Obviously, these two teams playing earlier in the season at Alex Box.
Yeah, I'm going to be an absolute nervous wreck. I mean, I mentioned it earlier. I'm from Louisiana. I was a Hog fan that grew up in central Louisiana. My best friend pitched at LSU, and so I used to watch his outings and be like, I hope he does well, but then I hope whoever they bring in after him sucks. Like, it was a very weird balance, hating LSU and having a lot of the closest people in my life go to LSU. So from a personal standpoint, for me, Andrew Ellis, it's going to be really, I'm going to have a lot of people heating me up if Arkansas loses. I've already got buddies talking trash right now. So there's a lot at stake for me, but there's a lot at stake for these two teams. And you mentioned it, like, it kind of felt inevitable. I mean, of course, you see the bracket, you see where this could potentially land. But I think, when you play these teams in the regular season, you kind of know, hey, that's a team we might see again down the road. And Arkansas played a pretty close series with LSU in Baton Rouge. They get blown out in game 2. They roughed up Gage Wood pretty well, but Arkansas was just a few plays away from winning that series. And you felt like, again, you might have to see that team down the road. In terms of the matchup, I feel good about it. I mean, both teams are good. There's not going to be a ton of separation like there is with all these teams, but I really do feel like whoever wins that game on Saturday, assuming that's when it is going to be the heavy, heavy favorite to win the national title. With respect to other teams, there's a lot of good ball clubs, a lot of good stories around, but I think these are the two teams that have the most talent, certainly on their side of the bracket. Oregon State might have something to say about that, but definitely feels like Arkansas, LSU, like, you always put yourself in a good spot when you win that first game, but this game feels like kind of almost a national title type of preview type of game. So it's going to be awesome. The atmosphere is going to be electric. Those two fan bases travel like nobody's business. Like LSU fans, I always make the joke that I think people like LSU fans believe that Hoover is where the national champion is crowned. Like, they treat it like that, as you got to see firsthand. They treat Hoover like it's like the biggest event of the year. So they're going to be fired up for Omaha. And, of course, they won the title there just a couple years ago. That fan base, you want to talk about a fan base that's never satisfied. It's that LSU fan base. They are never satisfied. So they're going to be just as hungry as ever, as if they've never won a title. And Hog fans, you can't find a hungrier bunch than them. And so it's going to be, an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. But I think for Arkansas, the story of this season and really this postseason has been kind of facing those demons that have haunted you in the past. And it's kind of funny that hypothetically Arkansas could wind up facing Oregon State in the finals, which would just be storybook type stuff. But I think back to, Arkansas's been in this situation in the super regional before, where they faced SEC teams. They faced South Carolina, your boys. They faced Ole Miss the year after that. I felt like Tennessee was the best version of that, and they conquered that demon. They got over the regional hump where it was kind of like a dark cloud hanging over. You keep losing these regional rounds. You get over that hump. Now you've got to face an LSU team that not only beat you just a month ago, but also, I think back to 2009 when Arkansas made their second College World Series appearance under Dave Van Horn. They lost twice to LSU that year. LSU ends up going to win the national title. And so I think it's kind of poetic about how the program, it's all kind of culminated to this point. And Arkansas's got to go out there and beat that final boss. And then you got to keep winning. It's there's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety, but you can't ask for much. Like, this is the best possible stage in college baseball.
Andrew, the showdown against LSU in game 1, that's obviously the highlight, and certainly we're paying attention to that. The rest of the field, like I mentioned, 7 of 8 are locked up. We'll get either Duke or Murray State in that other slot. Give me your thoughts when you look at the bracket. I mean, again, I've seen a lot of Arkansas fans and LSU fans talking about this on social media, because I do agree with you. I think at minimum, LSU or Arkansas, whoever wins that game, going to be the heavy favorite on their side of the bracket. You got UCLA and, like I mentioned, the winner of Duke Murray State. I mean, on the other side, and again, this is all due respect to all these teams because we've seen this postseason. What conference you're in really hasn't mattered all that much. The SEC's gotten beaten up. Everybody's gotten beaten up to a degree. But Louisville, Oregon State, Arizona, and Coastal Carolina on the other side. I mean, you got to look at the bracket and feel like if you're Arkansas, hey, this sets up pretty well for us to make a pretty deep run and give this first national title a real scare, if you will. Nothing's guaranteed, but I mean, you got to look at it and say, hey, it's a draw as favorable as I guess we could have asked for.
I think you're right. Absolutely. I mean, it's never easy. You're never going to have an easy matchup in Omaha. There's no such thing as that. But you're right. Like, I think you look around the field, and we always do that as fan bases. We're kind of looking around at the path and what that might look like. And all Hog fans can't really look past this LSU team because, of course, you've got the toughest possible test right in front of you. But you're right, man. Like, one thing about this Arkansas team that I think is interesting is, the last two Arkansas teams that lost early in the postseason, they were very susceptible to lesser competition. Like, I felt like Arkansas last year was with Hagen Smith. They were built to beat bad teams, or beat good teams, but they couldn't beat bad teams. It was a very bizarre thing. You'd beat a ace, but then an 89-mile-an-hour left-hander from some random school would shut you down. Weirdly enough, about this Razorback team, anytime they're on the field with someone that they're way more talented than, they usually take care of business. Like, they're can crushers over there. The only teams that have given Arkansas trouble this year are teams that have a ton of talent, like a Tennessee, like an LSU. Georgia gave them some trouble. Florida gave them some trouble. Like, it's been the teams that just on paper have those high-level power arms that they can throw at you. And so I look around the field, and LSU, of course, fits that description. Oregon State's really the only other team that I feel like, from a talent standpoint of just the level of prospects, level of arms they have, they're the only team that even has anything close, if you ask me. And I haven't looked too deeply at UCLA. I'm sure I'll have to do some research here soon. But I look at some of these other teams getting North Carolina off the board, getting the top two seeds off the board. Like, some of these teams that have fallen, it definitely shapes up well. And so I'm kind of secretly rooting for that Oregon State Arkansas final where we can kind of conquer that demon there. But they're the only team outside of LSU that I look at and I'm like, they maybe have enough talent to match up with Arkansas.
Andrew, does Arkansas have a chance to beat LSU in the Jello shot challenge?
I don't know, man. That's going to be a tough one. I don't want to count out Hog faithful. I'm sure they can. And listen, I'm providing the bulletin board material for you, Hog fans. I don't think y'all can do it. I don't think y'all can beat LSU in the Jello shot competition. We should point out that people cheat in this thing. I mean, you get like Gordon McKernan dropping a huge bag and filling up the tally. Now the proceeds go to charity, so it's okay. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but it's tough to it's not a real battle of the fan bases because you have a few rich guys that come in. But hell, Arkansas, get on the phone with, JB Hunt, Walmart, Tyson, all these companies. Someone's got to up the bag, man. Come on. Jerry Jones, foot the bill, man. Give us some Jello shots.
Going to be a fun battle on and off the field between Hog and Tiger fans and the rest of the field in Omaha as well. Andrew Ellis, Inside Arkansas. Andrew, really glad we're able to have this conversation this time of year. Look forward to linking up with you guys in Omaha. Let folks know where they can follow along and follow you guys' Omaha journey across all the socials and all your great work.
The Inside Arkansas YouTube channel is absolutely buzzing this time of year, and if you keep following along, you might even see Chris Phillips' face on our screen here soon. Our in-person meeting. I'm looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to seeing you in Omaha. It's going to be a blast, man.
Yeah, man, we'll be honored. Appreciate it. Glad I'm going to be seeing you in Omaha, brother, and we'll do it again soon.
Absolutely.